going on? Yeah, earlier I watched this show, it's a show called Buzzsaw, and it's got Sean Stone in it. And the show was about this dude who was saying basically he's a sleeper, TI basically, he's a targeted individual, and actually targeted for mind control, like he said he was tortured and disassociated and programmed with multiple personalities. But one of the things that the guy said, man, that kind of rang a bell to me is he kept saying Joint Task Force Operations. And for instance, I've noticed that there's a heavy, a heavy nationalistic paramilitary. There's a push to centralize everything. Okay, so basically, it's the merger of corporations and state, and this would be called corporatism. And basically, it's when you centralize everything, and basically the corporations that control money control the government, and they're all in bed, and you can't never do nothing because the same people who control the money control the military, and if you protest them, they sick the military on you to kill you, or either that do worse to you. I mean, a lot of times, like if you look at the Nazis, they experimented on people. I mean, and then you look into Operation Paperclip, where they flew all these Nazis over here into America, and then incorporated them into the military-industrial complex. And then you see all all the projects they were doing over there in Nazi Germany, they picked up and started doing here on the American population. For instance, you got fluoride in the water. You can trace that right to the concentration camps. There's one instance of how you can find the dude from Plum Island, the doctor. He was experimenting with biological pathogens or carcinogens or whatever, but using them spread through animals, and the tick in particular. And then not long after he got that job, you seen Lyme disease. I mean, or I've even heard of all kinds of crazy stuff, like them even making a flea bomb, where you drop a bomb full of fleas out of an airplane, and you have them all infected with some kind of like the plague. The Black Plague is spread through fleas. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't take a rocket scientist, though they have rocket scientists doing this, because NASA is part of Operation Paperclip. And then if you look into the Von Braun dude, the rocket scientist guy from Germany, there's a video of this woman, this blonde lady, and she said they were close, and her and Von Braun, and he was warning her. He's like, "Hey, man, there's a false flag coming where they're gonna say that there's these enemies from caves, that there's an asteroid coming, and that there's an alien invasion happening." And he said, "Don't believe this stuff when you see it, because it's just a lie, and it's part of their Hegelian Ordo Ab Chao Albert Pike WW3 operation." I mean, these things kind of, they're all avenues that they can get these things done. You know what I'm saying? And they're different choke points or powder keg issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, you light all the powder keg issues at once, even if it's discovered, the plot's discovered, and a few of them are extinguished. If you light enough of these little fires, man, it's hard to put out, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're doing with these engineered operations, where they're inflaming black populations against white populations against black population, and then the cops against the civilian, and then the military against the civilian. I mean, they're just, and then you got religious divides. Now they're even throwing in this class warfare, caste system, society mechanism to make people fight. This is all engineered. And back to the Joint Task Force operations. Like, listen, they're like, that is real. They really do. Like I was saying, I heard him say it in the game that this dude, he happened to the game, the character, he's a dope addict, but he keeps talking about this federal government is playing a new world order, and they got their own secret private army out there. And this is really how they do it, because I've seen it in the dope game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not proud to be privy of this type of thing, but I mean, like I always try to say, now knowing better, seeing Huxley and how it was prophesied by Huxley that, you know, they were gonna get people to love the servitude, and you see people talk rapping about, yeah, I got dope, yeah, like Rick Ross, I be slanging dope from my iPhone. No, you don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's him saying that, suggestion-wise, gets a bunch of people to sell dope from their iPhone while they got the system watching them. The camera, the mics coming on, it's just recording everything. You know what I'm saying? And and that goes to show you that they have really infiltrated music. You know what I'm saying? Where you got these people. That's what the FBI does. They got these special operations people who they'll be your friend and they'll suggest to you, man, dude, you know what? I know how to rob stores. I know how to shut off the alarm. And if you say, yeah, really? How? You know, and they'll be like, I know where the place is at, man. It's unlocked on Friday. And then you'll go to do this. And then when you go to, as soon as you break the law, then all these fucking dudes come jumping out of trees in black masks, squat, come rappelling down from helicopters. And, you know, then they'll say, oh, we averted a national security disaster. And I mean, they'll just paint it to the public just like that. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be totally an operation. Totally was an inside job. It was a total entrapment suggestion operation. You know what I'm saying? And then the person that is getting blasted in the media is probably a patsy. I mean, that's another thing they showed in the game. In the game, that's GTA 5. It shows how that it showed the National Security Agency, you know what I'm saying, was working with on the game, it's called the FIB, the FIB, or the FBI. It's the fictional version. But you got the National Security working with this NSA guy, and then they got the crazy conspiracy meth guy, you know what I'm saying, torturing some guy while you're sitting there talking on the phone with the Ray Liotta character, and they're saying, yeah, man, the suspect's got a bushy beard, and it says, and he chain smokes, and then you torture the guy some more, and then they say the last clue is he's left-handed. And this is all the clue they give you. And on the game, you're sitting there, you know, and then you pick one of these guys, and you finish the mission, and then look, and then they're like, is that the guy? Was that the guy? Yeah, that was him. And it's like, it just shows you how it's just like, it was such broad terminology that they were using in a vague description. That is exactly how Sprinkle the Crack sacrifices or crackerfices happen all the time. The police see a black dude, and they say, oh, he reached in his pocket, and he was just going to grab his wallet. But then they shoot him down. He's clean, no gun on him, so they sprinkle some crack and say it was drug-related. So then everyone assumes, you know what I'm saying, that that's correct. And this is exactly how this joint task force, this paramilitary snitch, nextdoorneighbor.com, Gestapo, Stasi, organizations, since what they're gonna say to you, it's like this. It's if they announce to the public that they're using these operations on the general public, everyone. But see, when the general public sees it, they'll say, yeah, we're just going after the drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? But yet they get away with having paramilitary Nazi-type movements, you know what I'm saying, mergers of corporations and state. And look, you can look at the corporate mercenaries. Look into corporation mercenary groups and how they can get thug intimidation crews to blackmail people or critically ruin their career. You know what I'm saying? By you can hire mercenaries to go out and fuck someone's life. You know what I'm saying? Basically, they do this, and they do it with multi or international policy as well, and they do it internally because some of these companies are multinational corporate groups. So when you attack the company, you're hitting assets in multinational fashion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really sophisticated, complicated, the way that they run this. But that joint task force operations, you can look into FLECT. That's Federal Law Enforcement something training. You know, or it's FLETC training. You know what I'm saying? And I've heard like that this is heavy. It's a heavy indoctrination camp for all the police. So in a way, the police are under mind control. If once they go into these joint task forces, and this guy was saying that his handler was in these task forces. Like, and here's the thing: when I started getting gang stalked, it was one of these task forces that was following me around, and the reason for it is because at the time the Flint Town Stabber was still at large, and it's like since they had this giant organized stalking task force out on the streets already, after they even found out that I'm not the guy, they still used me as like this target to keep their guys busy, keep them warmed up until they get a new target or something. That's the way they use me around town. And it's funny because now I look at Iron Mountain Report and look back on Iron Mountain Report, and it talks mega big time about joint operation task forces. You know what I'm saying? The local task force, you know, I've been told is called the Posse, and it's a statewide CIA, military, state police, local police, FBI, all things mashed into one fusion center type of operation deal where they, you know what I'm saying, which is centralization of military, police, intelligence, and citizen. You know what I'm saying? They're already doing this stuff. You can watch the Jesse Ventura Police State Band episode. You know what I'm saying? Or the InfoGuard episode, because InfoGuard is basically a joint operation command, because the leader or the manager from Walmart communicates with the manager from McDonald's, and then they communicate with the manager of the police, and then they communicate with the manager of the restaurant. I mean, and it's all covert and secretly. They have these people reporting to the government directly if there's any problem employees or people that potentially might be a threat to the infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? Which that, when you even look at the word infrastructure, that goes right into continuity of government. And this Iron Mountain Report is pertaining to a way that they can assure continuity of government. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you just got to look into this stuff, and you see that the government doesn't see the citizen as equals. It sees the citizen as a potential enemy. You're an enemy until we prove otherwise. Until you basically take a microchip, you're the enemy. That's the way the system looks at you, and that's the way they treat you. And see, right now they're using these joint task forces on, let's say, you know, weed dealers, worse dealers, you know, or you know, hookers. There's a whole bunch of different ways they use these things, man. But it's crazy because you know, I've had a lot of strange stuff happen to me in that time frame. You know what I'm saying, with people and all that, and it's just, it seems like yeah, man, that's there's a big connection here that people need to be aware of. You know what I'm saying? The Rex 84, King Alfred Plan, Continuity of Government, Silent Weapons for Silent Wars, Iron Mountain Report, Protocols of Zion. You know what I'm saying? These are all kind of books. They're all telling you the same type of thing. I mean, it's straight up. It's Blitzkrieg, full spectrum dominance, and these guys have planned for it. And there's the documents that prove they have already done the research on this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. That just look into joint task force type InfoGuard fusion centers.